Question, please, because I'm just going live on YouTube. And I'm very happy to have you all here. This is lesson 0 of my brand new course, which is actually going to be opening in 3 hours. And the link is in the description to join. It's going to be really great, the facial features course. And for this lesson 0, I'm going to share with you the materials that I really enjoy sketching with and I'll be using throughout the course. And we're going to practice some portrait sketching. So within the course, the structure of the classes is there's going to be anatomical understanding videos where we zero in on the different facial features and really get to explore and understand what each facial feature is comprised of. And then there's going to be another format of tutorials where we do quick sketch practice, which I think is super beneficial. And all the quick sketches I'll be doing with ink, with the calligraphy pen. And then we're going to do full portraits as well. And before we get into the feature by feature way of looking at things, I thought it would be interesting today just to focus on some foundational methods and ways of looking at things as we're drawing by eye. Yeah, and I already have people in my Kajabi meetup room, which is super cool. Many people that are signed up for the course, which I'm really excited to have you all here in the background as well. So if you hear me throughout the live stream responding to questions and having half a conversation, that's because there's a whole bunch of people over in the course meetup room who are sitting here, and it's so cool to be able to see you and have you here, and it's so cool to have you all here on YouTube as well. So I'll be announcing the winners of my giveaway, which I've been running through Instagram, and the main prize is a Zoom one-on-one call with me. So I called it a Zoom art call with as an additional optional part of the course. There is the personal feedback package where I'll be having one-on-one feedback calls with those who choose to be with me in that option and deepen your experience of learning throughout this course, where I'll really address specifically where you're at, what you're working on, how you're going, how your progress is. And the prize for the giveaway, the main prize, in addition to a drawing, is one of those Zoom sessions. So we'll be able to get together and talk about exactly where you're at in your art development, and whatever challenges you have, we'll be able to talk about that, and perhaps I could demo something. It'll be completely flexible and for whatever it is that you need. So that's the main prize, as well as some original drawings, and that will be announced at the end of the stream. So hopefully I remember. You can remind me throughout. And I was thinking, I like doing giveaways in the stream, so in the live chat you can also say, I want to win, and one of the drawings I do today could be yours. And I see so many wonderful people here in the YouTube live chat. So nice to see you and recognize so many of you. I think this is going to be really cool. It's foundational to the way that I draw and look at things. And I just call it drawing by eye. And the course is going to be laying a foundation of understanding and really like knowing what the different parts of the eye are, what the different parts of the mouth are, so that we can see it and identify it and recognize it as we're drawing. And this concept of drawing by eye is that we just draw what we see. But having that foundation of understanding of what those different things are, that can really lead to having great results in your drawings, and you have an enjoyable drawing experience. And if you're really into the drawing, then often the drawing will be really interesting to look at as well. So that is the kind of what we'll be looking at today with this idea of drawing by eye. So I have a few references that, AS I see is here in LiveTube. You need to get in touch with me because you won the giveaway last weekend and I'm not exactly sure who you are, and I would like to be able to get your drawing to you. So I thought today, we have 9 wonderful muses throughout the course, but I thought today we could start with me, and we're going to do some drawings of me. And I will just show you my workspace. These are some of the drawings from some of the lessons in the course. This is Jeeb in these two pictures. There have been a lot of great questions. I would love you to ask your questions of what's challenging to you, what you would like to focus on and learn, because I really love being able to address whatever it is that you want to comprehend and to learn. And this particular one of G, one that came up a few times, was drawing faces in unusual perspectives. And this idea of looking up, I also have a reference of me looking up, one looking down. It's interesting, once we intimately learn the different facial features, but it's all well and good to learn that, but then once you kind of move to the side and in a perspective where it shifts and it all becomes something different, it's a recurring challenge that it can be, oh, okay, how do I draw this now that it looks different to how I usually draw it? So that is something that we'll be addressing as well. And I've really loved hearing from people about what challenges you have, what you would like to learn, because that way I'm able to integrate that into what I address throughout the tutorials and the live sessions. So that kind of thing is really great. So don't hesitate. If you have a question or something you're not sure about, feel free to ask, and I will endeavor to make clear my understanding of whatever that thing may be. I'm gonna have a little drink. June, you had a question, feel free to ask. So that's a good question for the Kajabi meetup room, and it's called the Dylan Sara community, and it's connected to the course. Once you have made your account for it, then presuming you save your password and stuff, you won't have to go through all the hoops to join each time. I found it to be a really easy platform to use, in some ways even easier than Zoom. And you won't have to be answering all of those questions every time that you join. I think it should be a pretty streamlined process after today. Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you to everyone who joined the live stream, which didn't happen yesterday because it was actually this one, and I had set it for yesterday, and then I've been very busy setting things up, and then I was like, oh no, there are people there right now, and it's not happening until tomorrow. So thank you to those of you who were here yesterday, and thank you for coming back today. I have this reference, and I shared another really a reference that I really like, which, I was this one. And Kira often points out to me that when I do self-portraits, they're often so serious and stern, and that's not always the vibe that I transport to people. So I thought it would be interesting to also do something more playful. And because I think quick sketches are a core foundation to what I do, and I know for many different disciplines and ways of drawing that people are may or may not be used to doing quick sketches, but we'll do a few quick sketches. That's why I have a bunch of references here. They're all me, and all in kind of different setups, different situations. I'm not sure we'll get around to drawing all of these today, but I have them here because I feel like each one of these differently addresses some of the challenges that come up, and are kind of going to be differently interesting to draw, each one. So I think that's it for most of the talking for now. No, it's not. I want to show you the materials before we get to drawing. So this is my favorite paper. It's pretty fancy, and you don't need to use this. You could use printed paper, any kind of paper you have. And this is another one by Hanna Müller. So this is Nostalgie and Skizze. These happen to be like local, nice papers where I live. And the Skizze paper is like half the price of the Nostalgie paper. The Nostalgie handles ink really well. So whenever I'm doing stuff with calligraphy pen and maybe doing a little bit of wet media, then I prefer the Nostalgie paper. But whatever paper you have, feel free to use it. And I often, actually because it fits my live streaming setup, I use this format. But I would also encourage you to draw larger if you would like to. Also often, because I'll print things out, like this is half of the size of a printer paper, and I can put it alongside my paper and I have like a one-to-one transfer, which can be really helpful in drawing. But you may enjoy drawing larger, and that is great too. And as far as the pencils go that I'm using, these Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils are what I use all throughout the tutorials. And probably most color pencils will do, or even graphite, any pencil really. But I do really like and would recommend these Polychromos pencils, because you can also put wet media on top of them and they stay in place, and they have a really nice intensity to the color. And that's it really for the materials for the course and for today. But if you have further questions throughout, feel free to ask them. But that's it materials wise. And I would say don't feel limited by your materials, like you need to have a certain paper or a certain pencil, because there are so many great things you could be using. And even they don't have to be great. They could just be convenient. It could be just the pen from the doctor's office, or whatever you have, whatever you can use, then use that, and that will be great. What did you want to say, May? Yes, yeah, it's A5. So so nearly all of the live stream pieces and the pieces that I have in the course are this size. It's also convenient for sending, for putting in the mail, because it's like the size of a large letter. So it's kind of, there are various benefits for drawing at this size, I think. Yeah, you're welcome. Yes, please ask. Should we not do 30 seconds to start? We could. It is. Let's dive into it. That's a nice suggestion. So this, in my personal practice, foundational thing is every Tuesday I sketch with people live in Zoom, and we start with 30-second sketches. And we just had a question / suggestion of, should we start with a 30-second sketch? And part of what I think is so great and valuable about these super quick sketches is that and this is something that I'll keep coming back to, is just focusing on whatever grabs your attention, and just starting and just going for it. So yeah, I was wondering how to start drawing, and let's just do a 30-second sketch. And this, the idea of these quick sketches is just to loosen up, to really be paying attention to the reference. Perhaps I'll just so we can kind of see what I'm looking at and see the decisions I'm making as I come straight to the paper. I'll just put the paper version up here. And I always recommend and find it helpful to really focus a lot at the reference image. And for these quick things, like I think it's not helpful to hold really cramped and be really tight with your the way you're holding your drawing tool. Moving back a bit, you can be much looser, using your whole arm as far as getting a line, and also having a distinctive kind of line quality. Just the way you hold your drawing tool can have a huge impact, and it can also help you loosen up and not go straight into being really tight and focused. And that is something we can always do later on when we have more time and we want to get really, really close and into the details. But to just loosen up, this is a great idea. Let's start with a 30-second sketch. And I see on YouTube all these people saying they want to win. Maybe you will. Let's start sketching. So yeah, whatever grabs my attention, I just start there and just kind of expand out from there and see what happens. And I do this every week and have been doing it for nearly 6 years. So whatever squiggly thing comes out of this exercise for you, that's totally fine. It's not about it looking awesome. It's just about getting the pencil moving and practicing like some hand-eye coordination. So that was 30 seconds. Yes, that makes sense. All right. So my hand doesn't go in front of the reference. I'll put the reference back on up here. And I'm always super appreciative when people are able to point things out to me and say what's up. And also Kajabi, I'm learning the platform. So whatever insights and challenges you have, let me know as soon as you bump into them. And I will endeavor to resolve them as quick as I can. All right, let's do this one. And this time we'll do 1 minute. And it's not going to go over it. It shouldn't now because I put the picture up on top. My hand is disappearing under the reference, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, and so whatever happens in these brief time frames, there are different ways to practice, a different kind of emphasis, a different focus that you might have, and sometimes you may just choose to zero in on one facial feature and only do that in the brief time available, or you may want to try and capture the whole head as much as possible. It's like it's different every time. And, accuracy can just go out the window. Sometimes I'll try and focus on being really accurate, but that's not what it's about. It's just about observing, moving, and starting to just put something on the paper. And often that's I think it's a really important thing by having something on the paper, you have something to respond to. So this may be the beginning of a half-hour drawing, and I've just done this 1 minute thing, but now there's so much here to kind of inform the next step I take. No matter how accurate it is or not, there's something there, and it's a beginning and something that I can work from. And I can see here the potential in this 1 minute thing, and perhaps you just focused on the eyes, but that could be the seed for an entire image to grow around. So yeah, this quick sketch practice is really good. So thank you for suggesting or asking if that's what we were going to do. Okay, and this is good because I feel like it's super relevant. This is one I thought we're probably not going to spend a lot of time on this one. And as in the course, we're going to really focus on understanding the different facial features. But then when you come to something like this, it all kind of goes out the window. And it's like, oh, okay, what am I looking at now? I can see up inside things. The eyes are not the shapes that I thought they were supposed to be. Like there are all these things that part of the quick sketch practice and doing lots of practice is learning a way to be adaptable to whatever it is that you're presented with. And I think that is a really important skill to have, or something to be able to access. That it's nice to do, to have things set up in a perfect way, but it's not always the case. And sometimes it's nice just to be able to adapt to whatever's there in any given moment. So I will talk about this a bit because there's a lot of tricky things going on. There's like this angle of the eyes. Classically, like we tend to flatten things out when there's like a strong angle, and you can take that, like I wouldn't draw these lines all the time, but take that kind of parallel angle once you've decided what the angle is, and that can be what you base your next decisions on. Like I just said at the end of the last sketch, like once you've got something on the paper, then you've got something to respond to, and you can make your next decision based on that. And yeah, this is really, I have been sharing to my Kajabi mailing list. I now have 2 mailing lists, which is slightly confusing, but I think is really cool. In the lead up to the course, I've been sharing some what I think are super helpful videos, and anyone who I'm going to be putting them all together. Everything I've shared the last couple of weeks, I'm going to put it all in one place. And if you would like access to those, then join my Kajabi mailing list. And the link is in the YouTube description for that. And I also, a lot of people that have signed up for the class are not on the mailing list. So maybe you haven't seen those videos. And I would encourage you to do so, because I've shared some of what I feel are my have been really foundational tutorials. So some of them just really short, but I also shared a full 1 hour Patreon tutorial because I feel like it's going to be a super good foundation for a way of understanding, looking at things as we continue through the course in the next 5 weeks. So yeah, that is something I think is going to be a really great resource. And if you would like to, if you're on YouTube, then follow the mailing list link, which is up near the top of the description. All right, so that was our 2 minutes. Just putting that line, interestingly, these ones kind of disappeared. But I feel like that can be, it's not something I do all the time, but just recognizing the main angle of the tilted head, that is super helpful to just kind of get things in the right place, because so often I've done these drawings where I start with one eye and I get really into that, and I'm like, classically I'd like, even though I know the whole thing is tilted, I would put the other eye like way too low. And once we start to do that, it starts looking off, looks a bit wrong. So just having that line. I often talk about the edge of the page being like a point of reference, particularly if you have something frontal and upright. But if it's kind of tilted, then you can kind of just make your own point of reference. I think that's a really helpful thing to do. I'm really glad we're doing this because I love it. And I know a lot of people who are joining the course and a lot of people on my YouTube have not been to my Tuesday sessions. If you're able to join, it's a Zoom session, and there's also a link down the bottom of the description, and I will share it to the Kajabi community and send it out in an email. If you're able to join the Tuesday sessions, they are an incredible opportunity to practice quick sketching, and in a live context where we get to chat and share stories. So it's a fun social opportunity to create together, and it's also just really, really good practice. So that's something which has been it's just been a super informative, a great way for me to gain the confidence to just get started and start putting a drawing down. Like whipping this out in 2 minutes, I've not always had that kind of speed and confidence. And that is something as a teacher that I would like to share and be aware that maybe you're here today and you've never drawn a portrait, or you're just starting. And seeing stuff like that is a result of years of passionate practice. And it seems like it may be a long path, but it's super enjoyable. And if you get a fraction done of what I'm doing, or if I'm addressing common mistakes and you are making those mistakes, then you're totally in the right place. So wherever you're at in your practice and your journey, welcome. This is a I think it's going to be a really good place to learn and focus. And if you do have a super regular practice, like to refocus on things, and just to spend some time looking at things in a certain way, which will then be able to inform the way you make future choices about the way you draw things and what to focus on. Yes, yes, that is a very good idea. Yeah, that's great. I'll write that down. Um, yes, there are so many things. Like setting this up, there's been so much to learn behind the scenes, and I was like, okay, everyone will automatically be on the list and they'll get the emails, and it's like, oh no, that's not the case. So thank you for mentioning that. I'll put that and send that out, because things that for me may seem like a given because I'm kind of busy with it all the time. Perhaps this is the first time for you hearing about these things. So I will, in my next round of emails, I will put the Zoom link in and the Kajabi special mailing list in, so that you can opt into that and receive those pieces of drawing advice right in your inbox. You're very welcome. Thank you for asking. All right, this one is interesting. Oh, all right. I'll do 2 minutes with this as well, and I'll just focus. This is a nice one to do after the one looking up is looking down, because this is also something that it just shifts everything. we can't even see like what we're going to learn about the eyes. You can't even see it in this image, and yeah. So this is something I refer back to again and again. Is as we look at things. And it's interesting throughout the course because we're going to gain this deep understanding of the facial features. But when we're looking and observing things, it's all just random shapes, really. It's like pretty abstract shapes, and looking at the way these different shapes fit together. If you can be true to what you see in terms of these shapes, then you'll be able to make something that kind of looks like what you're looking at, maybe. And the big part of getting it to look like that thing, and this is also key to getting a likeness, is that the angles and the distances of those marks, forms and shapes, and between them, that they're somewhat accurate. They don't have to be spot on and perfect. You can still have a really successful drawing without it being everything being in exactly the right place. But if you can kind of gauge and figure things out, it's very helpful to work towards getting a likeness. All right, I'll put a 2-minute timer on. If I have reference up and I'm just like talking, feel free to just draw, because that happens sometimes. When I get into instructional teaching mode, which Tuesdays is not. Tuesdays is all your own practice, learning by doing, and there we just go from face to face, and we're pretty good at following the time limit in those sessions. So here I went straight to the glasses because amongst all of what's going on here, they are a really clear form. And once I've got those down, I can look, okay, from there, I've got like this triangular form of the nose coming down below the glasses, and just a little bit of moustache between the nose and the lip. I hear a bird in the background. There's some noise, which is interesting. I love hearing. I thought it might be you, Kiki, looking at that foresty background. I like to hear the birds. It's just a bit loud. Yes, I will share all of these references. I didn't get around to putting them in Dropbox today, but as soon as this is finished, I will endeavor to remember and put them up so that you'll be able to come back to them, keep sketching. Yeah. I think this is a crop of um, a larger photo, so it's not a high resolution image. And interestingly, I think it can be really nice to have a high resolution image, but as I was just talking about random shapes and seeing random shapes, sometimes having low res reference or something that's just kind of not quite defined, not quite crisp and clear, it can kind of be liberating in a way, that when you can't really see all the details. Yeah. So this one is not very high resolution. um, I think it's the image. Yes. So that was 2 minutes, and then this one, it was like the eyebrows and the moustache are like, and the glasses, kind of like the main forms here. And if we thinking about that idea of, what is there anything about this shape that says it's an eye, compared to what we usually think of when we think of drawing eyes. It's if we went on a bit further and had a bit more time, we could kind of embellish. There's maybe a bit of some eyelashes in there. You could give a bit more definition to the shape, but just that somehow this series of shapes in their constellation together on the page here, they make it look like a face, which is kind of amazing. And being able to, I think similar, like gauging the angle, if there is like a strong kind of tilt, and having something that's kind of like your anchor and your consistent thing. And for me, it was kind of the glasses, like putting that down and like then making my other decisions based off of where I had put that. That can help when it's kind of confusing what you're looking at. So long as there's something there, there's something to draw from, even if it's not the way you're used to seeing it. So long as you have a starting point and some something that you can then expand out from, that is a great thing to have. And this is not the method of drawing that I'll have when we do the full portraits in the course, because I'm going to sequentially go through each portrait, where we'll do kind of like the shape, the general shape of the head, and then we're going to focus on eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. It's going to be quite a methodical progression through each of the portraits as we focus on each feature. But the way I typically draw, especially in these brief time frames, is what grabs my attention, start there, and expand out from there. So there are different ways to draw, and they're differently fun and interesting, and you can kind of achieve different results and learn different things each time, depending on like what your focus and intention is. Let me just have a look over on YouTube. Have there been any questions on YouTube? I appreciate people speaking up over in the Kajabi meetup. It was great. Michelle on YouTube says, you're killing me with perspective today. One thing I would like to work on is drawing portraits without my usual bazillion lines. And that is something. Also, sign up to the Kajabi mailing list, because that is something that is going to be in that, has been in the past week. I shared some videos that were really about seeing angles, recognizing angles, because that is a really, it's such a helpful thing to see and understand, because even if we don't have a complex understanding of perspective and vanishing points, which is really helpful to understand, but if you can just see like angles, like what is, like what is this angle? If you see something like this, and then you can kind of faithfully draw this angle, rather than maybe drawing it like this and wondering why it doesn't look right. Just recognizing angles and distances it seems so simple and not romantic and magical, but I think it is really romantic and magical to be able to apprehend and like accurately see angles and distances, because I think that leads towards being able to put things in the right place. And once you've got that, you can kind of embellish things and emphasize things in a way you want to do. And it's kind of a lot of practice that goes into being able to see those angles and gauge distances. But once you have a lot of practice under your belt and the experience to draw from, then it's going to be a more... It's just a great foundation to have, and you'll be able to do really interesting things once you kind of have that grasp of things. Jaweti asks, Dylan, did you go to art school? No, I didn't. And if so, did that help boost your art skills to the level it is today? I did not go to art school. I studied architecture, and I learned about drawing things in perspective. But I can talk about that a little bit more as we progress. That's interesting about this. Just that little bit of eyelashes coming out of there to differentiate, kind of give some idea of what's maybe going on in that form. Okay. So I've got a couple more images. Okay, I think the progression, I'll look at this one, which is very untypical lighting because it's light from below, which is often interesting and different to what we usually see. But the features are really clear here. The nose, mouth, eyes, ears. But the way it's illuminated is kind of inverse of the way we often see things, which makes it interesting. But they're really clear. And then we'll move towards this one being the final serious pose for today's session. Does anyone else have questions? Oh, I see there's a Kajabi chat. Yes, Jane, those fuzzy resolutions, that's just the photos I'm choosing to share. Yeah. Okay, this one is a bit clearer, I believe. Okay, and this is really interesting. Just the shadow shapes, these like abstract shapes in this image. You could maybe I'll do two versions of this. I'll do like a quick one, and then I'll focus on the features. So I'll just do 2 minutes first, because I love shadow shapes, and this is a really clear example. Okay, 2 minutes, and then I'll do a 4-minute version where I'll talk a bit more about the facial features. But this, when I talk about understanding the angles and distances and about shapes, and it really seems quite abstract, this is a really excellent example. So I'll just start with the 2 minutes here, and I'm just looking like at the shadow shape, which is so interesting in this image. And rather than thinking of it in terms of what the features are, I'm looking just at light, trying to look at light and dark. And if you squint at things, that's a really helpful way to be able to focus on light and dark. And rather than filling in all that shadow, I'm just putting an outline, kind of creating a container for if I were to come and fill it, and to hatch and fill those dark spaces, I would just have the outlines ready to fill in. This is really interesting because usually the top lip will be in shadow, because typically if we're outside or we have above head lighting, the top lip will be in shadow, and it's inverted here, which is super interesting. So a lot of things which typically could be really helpful in terms of form and shadow is just, it's all inverted here. I'll just kind of like fill in those shapes. So this is like if you're given the gift of an image or reference, a model, still life, whatever the context is, whatever you're drawing, if something has really clear light and dark shapes, then you can start an image just by focusing on those shapes rather than even thinking about the individual facial features. That was 2 minutes. And just in that brief time, by focusing just on that, it's like this almost one big connecting shadow shape, which is, oh, that's so cool. It's like from here, from the nostrils, moustache, beard, all the way around, it's like one shadow shape connecting the whole thing. It's amazing. So that can be a fun way to draw things. Now I'm going to focus on the facial features a bit more and do a completely different drawing. Or should I just draw into this one? Because that would maybe, that would be cool. I was thinking about doing a different drawing, but this, like starting really loose like this, even if it's a bit wonky, can be a super cool foundation for then spending more time on something. So I'm going to spend an additional 4 minutes on this. And rather than starting another one, I would just work with what I've got. Keeping in mind that I could have started without this, the way I'm about to draw, because I'm really going to focus on the different facial features. So Jaweti, you asked about art school. I went to architecture at university and did some design drawing, and I really enjoyed the drawing phase of things. But technical drawing was just way too dry for me, and I just couldn't fall in love with it like I can with this kind of thing. Like this shape, just like, wow, that's so cool. And you'd spend so long just drawing the same building and making sure that everything, that it would functionally work. And I just realized this is not a thing that I can spend my life doing. And then it wasn't until I was 28 that I really focused. I'm like, okay, I've always liked drawing, and now I'm really going to focus. I'm 42 now. And it was when I was 28 that I decided to focus on drawing. And I've done a mentorship with incredible artists and done workshops and online courses, and just practice. Consistent practice is worth so much. All right, I'll put my timer on now. And I'm drawn to the eyes, so I'm going to go to the eyes. And maybe just before I do, I'll just do a little thing here. So and I just did this on the weekend, it feels like, but what I was saying before, typically, if something's being lit from above, this is an eye, okay? So the eyebrow will be in here, and under the eyebrow will be in shadow. The sun is shining down, and so we'll have these shadow shapes here, and then under the nose we'll have a really clear shadow shape. The top lip will be in shadow, the bottom lip will be illuminated, and then sometimes under the bottom lip there may be some shadow, and then that's like really clearly just looks like a face, because those kind of landmarks and features have been cast in shadow in a way which is like instantly recognizable. And when that's all inverted, like it is in this image, where the top lip is light and the bottom lip is dark, below the nose rather than being in shadow is light and the rest of the nose is dark, it's a really interesting inversion, and something that's super fun to draw and focus on. Okay, 4 minutes. Sherry says in the chat, technical drawing is boring. I have so much respect for people who, there were people in my course at university and they were just so into it. Like, and it's the means to an ends. Like if you have this idea of something that's going to be beautiful, whether it's a garden or uh, a device in industrial design, a building or the inside of a room, and you have this idea, and then you can do this super accurate, clear drawing to be like, this is how it will be made, and then it can be made like that. That's amazing. But the technical drawing process was just hard for me. All right, I put 4 minutes now, and focus on the eye for a moment. Anyone else present or watching the replay of this have much experience with doing technical drawing? Yeah? Yeah. Oh, it was so challenging because I in the conceptual stage, I would be like, wow, like having all these ideas, and I would draw so much, and I could just like, I was so energized by it, and I was like, okay, make that concept into something that could stand, through this genre of technical drawing, and that it was so draining for me. It was so hard. Yeah. It, there's it's so what initially took me to Germany was I was studying at the time, and it actually fits perfectly with this idea of being bored by technical drawing. Um, there were I went straight to university from high school, and I kind of like I didn't I don't know I didn't really know what I was doing, and I just kind of chose a thing, and I ended up in architecture. I was like, oh, I had a good time, but then I was struggling, and I saw that there were these really cool people that had taken some time off, and they had traveled, they had seen the world and gotten inspired, and often like what they would bring to their designs and their projects, it really felt like it had a foundation of knowing more of the world. And I was like, oh, that was interesting. And so I became friends with people that had that were a bit older than me, and they had spent time traveling. And then I was just hanging out, and my dad brought home a German one day, and his van had broken down just outside our village, and my dad brought him home, and it was like, oh, you'll probably get along with my son. And we were like instantly super good friends. And I was like, oh, there must be cool people everywhere. And then I was like, all right, I'm getting bored. I'm not doing well at university. I'm going to go get inspired. And then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to be just as cool as those other people in my course who weren't traveling. And so that's what took me away from Australia and brought me to Europe. Yeah. And then throughout the course of traveling, I realized that like, I really don't want to do architecture. So I went with the kind of the mission to get inspired for my studies, and I'm still fascinated by architecture. It's amazing, the design and creation of public shared spaces and the way we inhabit and interact with these spaces. Like, it's incredible, and I've been able to see so many amazing places. But it became very clear that it was not my place to be doing that. Yeah. And then, yeah, so pretty much like I realized after, when was it? So I had like a year. And then after a year, it was like I had to postpone my studies, but I still felt like I had to finish and I was committed to it. So I postponed it. And then after another year, I was like, oh, I'm still not ready to come back. And And then at some point I really just had to make the cut and say, okay, I'm just not going to do it. And then I stayed in Europe for about 4.5 years. And then eventually I did go back, and I did do another semester of architecture just to finish my course. So that was 4 minutes. Rodney De La Cruz says, I look a bit like Morrissey in some photos. That's interesting. Hello, Tommy. Hello, Dust and Shadow. That is a beautiful YouTube username. Dust and Shadow. Excellent. I have a rabbit called Shadow who is black. I do not have one called Dust, but that could be, if there's ever another rabbit, maybe Dust would be a good name. So that was 4 minutes extra drawing on top of that really loose shape drawing. Focusing on the eyes, just giving a little bit more definition to the nostrils, looking at the mouth, and just bringing a bit more focus to here. We could do more with the ear, but just choosing within that limited time frame. Like I felt like the eyes are really important to come and look at, and then kind of moving around, and then once I was kind of done here, I was putting in the hair of the mustache, and I was like, oh, actually the eyebrows need a bit more weight to them. So that can be interesting. And this, if anything, if you're someone who, like me, used to think you need an entire afternoon to do some art, this, without all the talking, if that would be taken out, this is like 6 minutes and something really interesting. And there's still more potential to keep going with this. And part of this thing of doing lots of quick sketches, rather than being like, I'm going to do this one drawing, it's going to take me maybe 2 weeks to do. And I'm going to like sit down in 4-hour blocks and work on it. I'm going to erase big parts of it and work again. That was kind of the process I had for a long time. But I've realized by doing a lot of quick sketching that the confidence in my line making and seeing things, being able to put things down, that's something back then when I made the decision when I was 28, I want to focus on art, I had no idea how to get better. And it was like this way, like kind of how does one learn such a thing? And I realized with all like these 14 years of experience now, where I really focused on doing it, and it doesn't always take that long. If you're hearing that and being like 14 years, that's such a long time. It doesn't have to be like that. Like there are these phases when you learn certain things, like in a course maybe, and you get some insight, and it can be like, oh, that's how that thing works, and that's what I'm looking at. That's why things start to make sense in a way that you can bring some focus and intention to the way you're drawing. And just to finish that train of thought is that doing a lot of quicker pieces, maybe just, I don't know how many faces I've drawn now. It's a lot. And there used to be a time when there were maybe like 20 faces I had drawn, and they were all super challenging, super hard. And if I had known back then that if I did a lot more quick sketching, I would have the chance to see a lot more faces. And from all of those really quick things, maybe one of them would be like really exciting and I could go further with. I feel like in the space of 2 hours, every Tuesday, we do like 26 portrait drawings, between 30 seconds and 6 minutes. And in that time, like not all of them work out. Some of them maybe not recognizable, but there could be something in there that it's like, oh, there's like something feels good about that particular one. And just having that practice, if you can find a way to like have a tiny sketchbook that fits in your pocket or in a bag that you can take anywhere with you, and in any kind of moment, just find something to sketch, draw, to doodle, and just to expand your practice of seeing and representing things on paper, even if it's a super brief time frame. And it may not look amazing, but each one of those little sketches, it becomes part of your wealth of experience that then, even if they're not faces, I have drawn chairs and cups, trees. Now I focus mainly on faces, but whatever it is. I, I, I remember traveling and just like drawing the shape of the chair in a train or in a cafe, drawing food on a plate, whatever it is, because this thing of like recognizing shapes and the way they fit together, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a face or it's a landscape or a still life. If you can recognize the values and the way the different forms interrelate, I think then you can draw anything that that anything that lights you up, whatever you enjoy drawing. And if it's not technical drawing, perhaps it will be faces. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And people sometimes ask me, do you draw anything other than portraits? And I, these days, sometimes, but portraits is what I'm most excited about. It's like every time it's new, even if you draw from the same reference a second time, it's like it has the potential to be something different. And I really like people, and I enjoy connecting to people. And I feel like portraiture is a really interesting way to do so, to be present with a face. And yeah, so that's why I draw faces, I think. All right, I have this one seriously good reference, I think. This was actually a screenshot while I was recording a tutorial, like an intro or an outro or something, and I was like, oh, that would be interesting to draw. So I got a screenshot of it, but it's very stern and serious. But this is what we're going to draw now for the final drawing. And here we have a question. Any questions? I would love to hear them. Linda says, Dylan, I just love how you go from those shadowy shapes to an amazing drawing. This is awesome. Thank you, Linda. You are awesome. Martina loves the layering. Layering's cool. Yeah. Layering is so much fun. So that was like the idea of the layer, is like there was just this one shadow shape and then layering the more detailed drawing on top of that. Any questions over in the Kajabi meetup? I'll occasionally look at the chat, but feel free to speak up, unmute, speak, if you feel so inclined. But if you're happy just to sit, listen and draw, that's great too. Yeah. Some people do laugh. Yeah, Chris. Chris will often laugh while holding a pose, and it's so much fun. But yes, it can be challenging too. It becomes like a breathing exercise, just to hold the pose, whatever's going on in the conversation. Oh yeah, Tuesdays are so good. You're all invited. Yeah. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad that you have enjoyed your 2 visits. May there be many more. Yeah. So the Tuesday sessions, we do this kind of thing. We're doing really quick drawing, but we're also telling these random, nonsensical, but somehow very sensical stories, because we give each other prompts for the poses. So someone will be like, you're receiving a gift, and then you can pose, and you hold that pose, and everyone will draw you, and then it's your turn to give a prompt and be like, the gift is a toad, and then someone will respond to that, and then these amazing storylines unfold. It's a lot of fun, and everyone should come. Yeah. It's it's been such a wonderful space, the Zoom room. So much great connection and drawing and stories, and so much fun. I like it. Astrid says, for me it's difficult to draw teeth. Do you have a trick? Nah. Some people will know the answer. So before I get into this very good, serious reference. Let's have a look at this again. How do you draw teeth? And I would say, like in this one, for example, and this is another one which is very low resolution. But if you could see the teeth that I drew here, there's no teeth. And that is the thing often. So this is an untypical perspective. But I will often draw like the outline. I see there's a bit of an indentation here. It's like this. I'll draw like the big surrounding shape without getting into the detail of the teeth. And just doing something like this. Because the thing is that there's so much detail in teeth, between the teeth, the chipped teeth, the missing teeth. There can be so much detail that often we'll be drawn to drawing the detail because we're aware of it and we see it. But if you look at stuff just in terms of the value relationships, like the lines between the teeth will almost be invisible. Like if you're like, they're definitely there, but if you start drawing all of those lines, it's going to create so much emphasis on those lines, and that can become pretty distracting. So especially for a quick sketch, I would say draw the big shape that's holding the teeth rather than drawing the actual teeth. And if you have more time, so then as we expand out here, we've got more context surrounding the area. And I feel like, even though I haven't drawn any individual tooth, that is a pretty clear that is a mouth looking up and there are some teeth in there. So yeah, I think not drawing teeth is a great way to draw teeth, but still drawing the shape, which implies the teeth. So yeah, a lot can be implied. Because as soon as you start putting those lines in there, and maybe you could do it super gentle, but then it's also the question is like, is it important to have delineated each of the teeth? Is that going to make the image like better? Like, or is it going to be distracting? And I think that's the thing, and that's what's often so challenging with the teeth, is because you start drawing all the teeth, especially if you're working like with a felt tip pen, and then all of the lines are like clear and dark, and then it becomes kind of distracting, because anywhere there's detail, our attention's going to be drawn to it, and it may just not be necessary to draw all of the teeth, and maybe far more expressive just to draw the shape. And I would say with hands as well, like often in quick poses, I will draw the shape that's like the outline of the hand rather than getting into the knuckles and the fingernails and stuff, like just capturing the outline, particularly when you're doing a quick sketch. Camilo Carino he has these incredible drawings just of people's mouths where he's like finely rendered each tooth. And I know he says draw all of the teeth. But yeah, it depends what you're going for. What is the context? How much time do you have? How strong is the contrast between those different features? It could be that it's not. There's much less contrast than you may think. Yeah. Drawing a toothpaste ad. Get your teeth so bright that you can't even see the lines between your teeth. Low contrast teeth. Low contrast could be the new brand of toothpaste. Martina says, yeah, the lines between the teeth can be so subtle, very difficult to not overdo it. Indeed. Yes, Mary, that's right. I want to win. And AS, are you still here? Because I really want you to get in touch with me so I can send you your drawing. Send me an email, dylan.illustration@gmail.com. Yes, you are. Excellent. All right, this is going to be the last drawing. How's everyone doing? I'm going to set a 6-minute timer for this, so we're going a bit over time. I thought this would be about an hour, but I also thought maybe it's going to be half an hour longer than an hour. So we're still in a good space. And then there'll still be some time for questions afterwards. And there'll be time for me to announce a winner from the giveaway. There are 36 people watching the live stream. Who has not said hello in the chat yet? Please do. Maybe you'll want to say hashtag I want to win and you might win a drawing. All right, let's draw. When we have more time, often the way we draw and work will expand to fill the time. And it can feel like in 6 minutes, I got less than in 2 minutes. And that's an interesting thing to notice. And of course, doing a 1 hour drawing can be great. They don't all have to be super brief. But yeah, I guess the idea of developing like just seeing a lot and developing a kind of confidence in the way we draw. And there are wonderful, subtle ways to build things up as well. So many great ways to draw things. But like in this, because I often think, what grabs my attention? What do I go to? What is going to make the image interesting? What is it about this reference that is interesting? What caught my attention about it? And then to try, if I can see in the image why I think it's cool, then I can focus on those things while I'm drawing, rather than just getting carried away with like drawing the stubble on my head. I can focus on what is it about this which is cool. And in any given image, like you don't have to draw everything, but if you capture something of what it was that initially drew you to it. And sometimes it can be the exercise of finding what is it about this is potentially interesting. Because sometimes you can draw boring things and still make the drawing interesting. And then it may be like a exercise in values, even though it's just some kind of undefinable shape, like a cup. And then you can take that mundane thing and turn it into something of beauty. Yeah, there's so many different ways to get into drawing. But if you can figure out before you even start, like, oh, this about this is really interesting, that can be really cool. That's on YouTube. So for anyone who's in the Kajabi meetup on YouTube, because I often do giveaways on YouTube. So that's why I'm saying that people on YouTube, they could put hashtag I want to win in the chat and they might win. But fair's fair. You could also put hashtag I want to win in the Kajabi chat, and I'll mix them all together and see who wins. Yeah. Go for it. Everyone is welcome. That is a good question. So I'm going to start drawing, and I'm going to focus on the eyes, just to wrap up what I was saying there, like the eyes, the beard, like the contrast in this image, and that like there's a super strong silhouette, and like this a couple of renegade eyebrow hairs are like out there, and there's interesting things happening there, and there's something about the resolution, the crispness of that, and the relationship between the dark and light shapes. I'll start drawing and I'll address those things. Thank you for asking. And yeah, and that could be a good point for anyone who's here who has not yet heard that tomorrow my new course starts. You can join by following the link in the description on YouTube, because yeah, I have a brand new course which is starting tomorrow, and it's going to be each Monday a module will be released, and the first one is on eyes, and you will have the week to work through the 3 lessons which are in each module, and it'll be the Sunday. So next Sunday, there'll be a meetup session like this one within the course. So that will not be a live stream. It'll be in the Kajabi course structure. And that'll be the same time as this one was next Sunday. So you'll have a week to go through the lessons and sketch and practice, and then whatever questions you may have, challenges which arise throughout the week, or things you would like to address from the from what's been going on, we'll come to the live sessions, be able to do that. For those who are doing the personal feedback package, I will be sending you possible appointments tomorrow, and you can choose your time slot when works for you. We'll make sure that there's something that's going to work for you, and that won't be until after you've done some of the work. So it's to be able to pick a time, and then we'll be able to address whatever it is, wherever you're at, like a deeper experience of the live sessions where anyone will be able to ask anything. But in the personal feedback package, we're going to be spending time together. There'll be 2 Zoom calls, and like one-on-one or similar to this. And the in-between weeks, I'll record a video about where you're at and what we've been talking about. So there'll be feedback throughout the course as part of that personal feedback package. So the regular live meetings will be each Sunday, 9 p.m. my time, so same as this one started today. Was there something else in the questions that you asked that I have not yet addressed? Yeah. So, okay. Monday is when the pre-recorded lessons will be released. So each module. So there are 4 key facial feature modules: eyes, nose, mouth, ears, and each module will be released on the Monday. And there will be a 5th week as well, where it's going to be additional full portrait tutorials. So each module also contains 1 full portrait tutorial, and the 5th week, rather than focusing on a particular facial feature, is going to be a bunch more full portraits to work on. Yeah. So you're very welcome. Thank you for asking. It is so great to have. Oh, you're very welcome, and it's great. They're going to be here. So the live sessions will not be on YouTube. So it's part of the course. This lesson 0 is for everyone. And perhaps some of you are on YouTube or watching the replay even, and you're like, oh wow, I want to be part of that. And I encourage you to sign up, because we're starting actually in less than 2 hours now. So I said it's going to start Monday, but less than 2 hours, it's going to be Monday where I am. So the first module will be... yes, so each Sunday there will be the same time, there'll be a live, and because I think and hope, I would love if people are joining from time zones that are maybe asleep right now. So I'm going to do some additional live sessions so that everyone has the possibility to join live if they want to. So those, I'm thinking, will also be Sunday, but maybe about midday my time. So then June, you'd probably be asleep. But the... Okay. And the replays will be available. You can bring your lunch and eat and draw at the same time, if that helps. Okay. That's not a thing here. Yeah, there will be. Yes. And if I've understood correctly, and I hope I have, the replays of the live sessions will instantly be available to rewatch within the course framework. So I think that's going to be a really cool feature. So there shouldn't be any delay. You'll be able to, if you're late or if you join late and you want to go back and watch the beginning, you should be able to immediately within the lesson layout, you should be able to go straight to the replays. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. That was 6 minutes. And at a higher resolution, I've drawn a lot less than I did in some of the shorter poses. So look at this. This is like 30 seconds. I got much more captured in a very brief way. But this is really focusing in a different way on this image. So yeah, each time, each drawing is different, and there's different possibilities and different ways to be. So those were the sketches. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for being here. I'm about to announce winners of giveaways. So I'll just put these drawings up here. So things that I will do in the coming hour is I will make all of these references available to you if you want to keep drawing, redrawing, practice sketching. I'll put them in the YouTube description as well as a Dropbox link, and I will share it on Kajabi. Maybe I can even drop them in the chat for those of you here. That would be a super easy way to do it. These are the... Oh look, this was the same image. And now, all right, I've got to see. I've got to do my little... I wish there was someone who could come and entertain while I make my little spreadsheet and figure out who wins. But I just put my drawings up here and have a little bit of patience, because maybe you're about to win something. You could definitely chat amongst yourselves, do that. That's a good idea. In Kajabi, you can all say hi to each other. And yeah, so the Kajabi community, I'm still figuring it out. But you'll be able to share your work on there. Any questions you have, like I would love people to be interacting with each other there, because that is what's so nice about like real physical space classes. Is that you get to like interact with people while you're practicing and learning. And my hope and desire is that this Kajabi community space is going to be a forum where people are really able to share their work, connect. Hopefully I'm going to find a way that you can share your lesson work within the lesson at the end of the lesson. I haven't quite figured it out, but it's going to be really cool. And so yeah, I'd encourage you all. And if you've been drawing along, and you use social media, I'd love you to tag me if you're sharing any of your work, because I'd love to see it all. There's a bit of background sounds happening at the moment. Not sure. Oh, I can switch noise reduction on. I don't know if that's for me or everyone. I'm not sure. That's something different to Zoom. I can't... Yeah, I don't really have... I can't see... Oh, here we go. Yeah, there's a happening in the background. So if that sounds like you, you could mute. And if you would like to speak, then please unmute. All right, I'm going to make my little list now of I want to winners. Oh yes, that's a cool idea. I will remove my spotlight, and everyone can hold up their pictures. And if you say something, then you'll probably become spotlighted. And or maybe you can even click on the drawings and see what people have done. That looks very exciting. It's always cool to see what people have been working on. Cool. No problem, Kiki. All right, I'm just going to be quiet for a moment. That's an interesting question. How to handle hair. The beard, I often think it just is a big dark shape. So the same way as the teeth are super bright and I didn't draw them, I would like draw a shape and just go and kind of fill it in. But I would definitely talk more about hair. Yeah, drawing hair is really interesting because it is quite complex. But it's also, you can start with a simple, like big shapes, and work towards the details. And because you don't have to always draw everything just because it's there. Hair is really, really interesting. I wish. You'd love me to have a red t-shirt. Um, I just think of it as one big dark shape. And like the same way with this one, how I just like with the red one where I started with that big shadow shape, I would just think of like, okay, so this is like one big dark shape. Not even thinking about what are the extents, where does it end, just simplifying it, and first trying to look at it in a simplified way, represent it in a simplified way, and if you have time and the desire, then you can start kind of putting in some squiggly lines and stuff. That's the way I would do it. There are different ways, but I know that a lot of people find it super challenging, and whenever something is super challenging, I would always think to try and simplify first. Like, what is the big main thing I'm looking at here? And if you squint at it, often that'll help you just kind of simplify whatever information there is, so that you can focus on the big things rather than getting carried away with details, which may not really like, it's kind of, do you want people spending a lot of time looking at the beard hair, or do you want them looking at the eyes? Maybe it's going to be a beard drawing, but maybe the eyes are going to be the main thing. And wherever you kind of put most detail and most emphasis, and that is going to end up being something which kind of has the focus and the intention you put into it, and the like that is going to be something that is going to attract the gaze of the viewer. So that would often be my question, is like, that doesn't mean, like, sometimes it may be really easy and quick to draw an eye, and you may do incredible wallpaper, which takes a very long time, which is nice, but probably people are going to look at the wallpaper, that's nice, and then look at the eyes again. It's often kind of, it's not always like that, but that's part of, like, when I'm seeing things, I'm like, that grabs my attention, that's interesting for some reason, I'll focus on that thing, and that becomes like the focus of it. So that would like always be, I'd return to, like, how much of your time working on this piece do you want to dedicate to the beard hairs? And maybe the beard's just so awesome that you want to spend a really good long time working on it. All right, we're getting closer to this. I just wish I could, like, hold some kind of suspense for this one day. Maybe one day I'll find a way. I really appreciate everyone entering the giveaway. So, and really appreciate you being here, and appreciate the time that we get to share together. So I'm willing to take the time to figure out who's won. All right. So there are two separate giveaways. One is for the giveaway I was doing on Instagram, which is going to be you win a Zoom call with me, which is just like the ones I'll be doing in the personal feedback package, parallel to the course, and a drawing. And there'll be two runners-up who also both get a drawing to get a sketch. And so get in touch with me if you have one, and we'll figure it out. Either I just draw what I want, or maybe there's something or someone you would like me to draw, and we'll figure out a time to meet for our one-on-one session. So we're getting very close now. I will announce the live stream giveaway first, and the winner is Sherry. Congratulations, Sherry. Any one of the drawings I've done today during this very instructional, I hope, session if there's one of them that you love, that grabs your attention, or even a couple, let me know. And I'll be very happy to send it to you wherever you are. And you can get in touch with me, dylan.illustration@gmail.com, or write to me on Instagram. And I've got something set up on this like comment picker website. So there are going to be 3 winners for the big giveaway, which I was running the past few days. And confetti. The main winner of the call and a drawing is stift.farbe.greenhorn. Congratulations. And the 2 runners-up are melanies.insta and Nick Batch. So thank you so much to everyone who played along. I often do giveaways, so if you're interested, and I'm also happy to sell my work if anyone wants to buy any, but I find it a festive and fun way during these live sessions to kind of send something out into the world, and I really appreciate everyone playing along, everyone who draws with me. So thank you for being here. I will end the live stream, and yeah, I'm super grateful for everyone who showed up. If you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. I do a lot of live streams, and there's a lot of fun opportunities to draw together. I have so many windows open now. I'm like, where's the live stream on? Over here. So thank you, everyone. I see all of you. I see your names. If you've made it all the way to the end of this on YouTube, then please put a drawing hand emoji in the chat, and I'll know you made it to the end. It's incredible. If you're watching the replay as well, thank you so much for being here and watching. And for everyone who just won something, please get in touch with me so I can get it to you. And yeah, thank you all for being here. I'd love to see your sketches, so please tag me. I'm most active on Instagram of the social media places, and if you're in the Kajabi community, I'd love to see your sketches there as well. I'll see if I can make a thread so that they can all be in the same place. We're going to figure it out together, the Kajabi community, and I think it's going to be a really great place. And in an hour and a half, the first module of the facial features course will be released. So if you want to get in on that and join the course, it's going to be really, really cool. It's been a long while in the making, and I'm so glad that it's happening now. I'm so glad to have all of you with me for it. Those of you who are participating, it's going to be really cool. So thank you, everyone. Thanks on YouTube. Goodbye. Take care. I'm about to say goodbye to you separately on Kajabi, but bye-bye, YouTube. Okay, thank you everyone who's still here. Thank you to everyone who joined.